Hi, in this tutorial I will give an overview of how you can use this AM2320 temperature and humidity sensor in Arduino. So here you see contents of this tutorial. First, a short introduction to Arduino, an overview of this AM2320 temperature and humidity sensor, and then I will provide some Arduino examples. First, a short introduction. So we will use this AM2320 temperature and humidity sensor, and this sensor has a so-called I2C interface that we are going to use, and also Arduino, which is the hardware we are going to use. Arduino UNO is the most used Arduino, and Arduino UNO and most of the other Arduinos are supporting this I2C interface that this sensor is providing. And we will create some different Arduino examples where we read temperature values and humidity values from this sensor. Here you see an overview of the hardware you need to follow this tutorial. Of course, we need an Arduino UNO or a similar Arduino device. We need this temperature and humidity sensor AM2320. We need a breadboard, so we can connect the sensor to the breadboard using some wires and wire to the proper pins on the Arduino. And also this sensor requires that we use two resistors. So that's the hardware. Most of this hardware you can buy many places. Just Google on the internet, and then you will find lots of places where you can buy these components. So here you see the AM2320 temperature and humidity sensor, which you can buy many places. One of the places is Adafruit. So this sensor comes in a small bag, which you see here. And the size is quite small, and it has 4 pins that are using this I2C interface. The software you need is the Arduino IDE, which you can download for free on internet. Just follow this hyperlink, and then you can download it and install it on your computer. So next, what is Arduino? So Arduino is an open source electronics platform, which is quite easy to use, and you can use it for different projects, Internet of Things projects. And you can connect different types of sensors, temperature sensors, humidity sensors, etc. And it's very powerful and much used in different types of Internet of Things projects. You find more information about Arduino on the homepage. So basically Arduino is a small microcontroller, and it's an open source platform. It has different pins for input, output, and it has digital pins and it has analog pins. The device is quite cheap. It costs about $20 or something, and you can buy it almost anywhere in different places on the internet. So here you see an overview of this Arduino UNO, which is the most used Arduino, and here you see the pins on both sides. So here you have digital pins. Here you have pins for 5 voltage ground, and here you have analog input pins, and those 2 pins are for the I2C interface, which we are going to use in this tutorial. So then let's start with an overview of this AM2320 temperature and humidity sensor. So it's a temperature and humidity sensor. It has an I2C interface. The accuracy is plus minus 3% relative humidity, and the temperature accuracy is plus minus 0.5 degrees Celsius. That is at least according to the datasheet, but basically this is not a sensor that you use when you need high accuracy. Typically it can be used for different types of Internet of Things projects. It has an I2C address that is that cannot be changed, and this is the address. The price is quite cheap. It's about $4 for one sensor, and you can buy it in different places. Adafruit, Alpha Distrelic, etc. So you can buy it in many different places. So here you see the sensor in detail. It has 4 pins that you can put on a breadboard. It has a pin for power supply. This is this pin and this pin is for the I2C interface, and then we have the ground pin. So this VDD, or the power supply, here you need to connect voltage between 3 and 5 voltage. On Arduino you have a 5 voltage that you can use. And SDA is the I2C data in and output, and also in addition you need to have a pull-up resistor that is between 2 and 10 kilo ohm. And then you have the ground pin, and then you have the I2C clock that also requires a pull-up resistor of between 2 and 10 kilo ohm. So basically this is the sensor and the pins that you need to use in order to wire it together with the Arduino hardware. And here you see a sketch of how you wire this sensor together with the Arduino hardware. So here you have the AM2320 temperature and humidity sensor with these 4 pins. So then you have the VDD that you are connecting to the 5 voltage. You have the ground that you are connecting to the ground pin of Arduino, and then you have the SDA that also needs to be connected, the green one, to the SDA pin on the Arduino. But you also need to have a pull-up resistor of in this example 10 kilo ohm, and that goes to 5 voltage. And then the same for the SLC pin, the clock pin on the I2C interface. It's this blue one. It goes to the SCL pin on the Arduino. So both this SDA and the SCL pins requires a 10K resistor that are wired to the 5 voltage which we have here. So basically this is the wiring. Here you see the physical wiring I have used in order to connect to my Arduino. So now when the hardware wiring is ready, we are ready to start creating some Arduino code. And of course you can create and use this example and create your code from scratch, but typically you want to make or use some pre-made Arduino libraries. So in this case I will use the pre-made Arduino libraries from the Adafruit. So this is Adafruit Unified Sensor, is a library that are used for all sensors from Adafruit. And then they have additional libraries for different types of sensors, and in this case we need to use this Adafruit AM2320 sensor library. So we need to install these 2 libraries before we can start using the sensor. And in order to install these libraries we use the Arduino IDE, and then we go to the library manager. We just click on the library manager here on the left side, and then search for the AM2320, and then we are installing these libraries by just clicking on the button in order to install these libraries. And then we have the necessary libraries ready, and then we can use the built-in example. So this library comes with a built-in example that you can use as a starting point for your application. So now when you have installed the necessary libraries, we are ready to start reading humidity and temperature data from this temperature and humidity sensor. So now I have opened the Arduino software, the Arduino IDE, which is like this. And then I just click on this icon, Library Manager. So here I can search for this sensor AM2320 like this, and then I'm able to install this library. And you see here in my case I have already installed it, so then I'm good to go. So but basically you just click on this install button in order to install the library, and then you are ready to start using the sensor. And then next you just go to File, Examples, and select the Adafruit AM2320 sensor library, and then you open this built-in example. And then we can just use this built-in example. Basically, you need to include these libraries. Then you need to create an object of this sensor. Then in the setup function, you just need to start connection to the serial port. And then you need to start communication with this AM2320 temperature and humidity sensor. And in the main loop, in the loop here, you just use the built-in functions that are part of this library. So there's a function for read temperature and read humidity. So then you can just click here on verify. And the sketch is compiling, done compiling, and then we can just download it to the Arduino board by clicking the upload button. And then it's done compiling and done uploading, and then we can open the serial monitor, which you find here. And then you see we will get temperature and humidity values here, but you see here the humidity values are in some cases NaN, not a number. So then typically we just want to just read either the temperature or the humidity. So let's just start by just reading the temperature value. So I disable this one and then upload the code once more. Go to the serial monitor. I just click this one in order to clear the output, and then you see the temperature are read from the sensor like this. Then you can hold on the temperature sensor in order to make the temperature increase. You can put it in, basically this is how you read the temperature value from this temperature and humidity sensor. If you want to read the humidity sensor, I just disable this one and read the humidity instead, like this. And then upload the code once more. And then I go to the serial monitor. I just click here in order to clear output. And then now it's able to read the humidity value, and now I can breathe in the sensor. And then you see that the value are increasing a lot since the humidity is increasing since I was breathing directly to the sensor. And now it goes down again. So basically, if you want to read the temperature, just use the built-in function called read temperature. If you want to read the humidity, just use the built-in sensor read humidity, and then put it inside this main loop with a time delay like this. So by using this library from Adafruit, you sometimes may get this NaN if you are trying to both read the temperature and the humidity. So then a solution is either to just read only the temperature or just only read the humidity. But if you want to both read the temperature and the humidity, there is a solution for this issue, and then it is found on this web page. So just click on this link, and then on this link on this web page you find an updated library that you can download and install. So then with this updated library, there's a new function called read temperature and humidity, and then this function reads both the temperature and the humidity out of the sensor in one operation. So basically just open this web page, And by opening this web page or this link, we go to the support forum on Adafruit, and then one other user are getting the same error. AM2320 returns not a number from humidity reading. And then there's a lot of information here, but if you go to the second page here, then there's a solution for that issue. So then you just need to replace the Arduino library, and then you need to replace two files, Adafruit AM2320.h and Adafruit AM2320.cpp. So these are the main file of the library, so you just need to download them. So these two files need to be replaced. So then I have downloaded them to my download folder. So I just copy those, and then I go to the place on my hard drive where this Arduino library is installed, which is on users, my username, documents, Arduino and libraries, and then we have this Adafruit AM2320 sensor library here. And then you see we have these two files, the H file and the CPP file, which is the code files for this specific library, and then I just replace them with the files I just downloaded from internet. So those are the two files. And now next I just go to the web page once more, and then I just need to copy the example, which is an example that are using these two new library files. And I just go back to the Arduino, click File, New, and then I just replace this one with, paste the code found on internet. And then you see here there's a new function that you can use that are called read temperature and humidity. So basically this new function makes sure that you are not getting this not a number issue, and then you can read both the temperature and the humidity value. So then let's just upload this code to the Arduino hardware. And then done uploading, then we open the serial monitor, which you find here, and then you see both the temperature and the humidity is read from the sensor. And then we can either hold on the temperature sensor or breathe on the temperature sensor in order to increase the humidity. So by using this updated version of the library, it's straightforward to both read the temperature and the humidity sensor. Both the humidity and the temperature values from this sensor. So let's summarize. If you only want to read the temperature value, or if you don't get this not a number issue, you can use this code. You need to include these libraries. You need to create an object of the sensor, and in the setup function you need to start serial communication and start the communication with the AM2320 sensor, and in the main loop you just use the built-in function read temperature, and then you are able to see the temperature values as an output in the serial monitor like this. If you want to read the humidity, you just use the identical code, but you use the read humidity function instead, and then you are able to read the humidity value. If you are getting this not a number issue, if you try to read both the humidity and the temperature in one operation, you will find a solution for that issue by just downloading an updated version of the library. And that in that updated version of the library there's a new function that you can use. It's called read temperature and humidity, and by using this read temperature and humidity function you are able to read both the temperature value and the humidity value. So that's all. So here you see some of the references that I have used in this tutorial. Here you find information about the I2C interface on Arduino. Here you get an overview of the AM2320 sensor. Here you find the data sheet for the sensor. And also here you find an updated library that are fixing this not a number bug if you are getting this issue. If you are not getting this issue, you don't need to update the library. So that's all. So thank you and goodbye.